Unit 14, Section 4. Here we'll take a look at algae in our diet and some harmful algae. We haven't really talked about the effect of algae a lot. Many algae, especially the cyanobacteria and seaweeds, are used as food. They have a high proportion of protein given their volume, and have high concentrations of minerals and some vitamins. And some algae have a precursor or preform of omega-3 oils, which are indicated in health in humans. And by consuming these algae, we get the benefits of those. Spirulina is a blue-green algae that forms filaments, and here we can see the microscopic filaments formed of spirulina, and there are significant amounts of protein available from eating this. Usually, because of the small size of these, they're collected or grown in huge numbers, strained and then pressed into a different form, such as tablets, which is can be used as a dietary supplement. Also, nori, commonly used as wrapping for sushis, and dulse. So humans have been consuming algae for a long time, and algae provide us benefits of plant food and seafood and proteins. But the algae aren't 100% good. Some species are toxic, meaning they create poisons inside themselves, and if consumed, can poison the organisms that consume them, that eat them. But even species that are non-toxic can be harmful when conditions cause what's known as an algal bloom. That typically happens when there are high nutrient conditions. Okay, for instance, nutrient runoff from farm fields, pumping of sewage into waterways, that sort of thing adds huge amounts of nutrients to the water that algae can use as food, and causes an explosion in population, really rapid growth of the algae, beyond the long-term carrying capacity of the nutrient that's been added to the water. So when the nutrients run out, these algae die. The dead, decomposing algae cause oxygen to be removed from the water. That lack of oxygen then kills fish and plants in the water, and often causes foul odors. There are some algal blooms that form from species that are toxic in their own right, and then these blooms can kill animals and humans who eat other animals that have been poisoned by this. For instance, filter feeders, mollusks like oysters and clams and that sort of thing, just feed by filtering water, taking the nutrients out of it. If they're feeding in an algal bloom of toxic algae, they're consuming those toxins, which may not kill them outright, but then animals like seals and humans and seagulls then eat those organisms, the clams and the mussels and the oysters and that sort of thing, and are poisoned. Red tides are harmful algal blooms in coastal waters involving the dinoflagellate algae that have a brown or red color. But not all algal blooms are harmful, even the red ones. Occasionally, the algae will just explode in population in a limited area, consume excess nutrients, and be dispersed by tides or wave action. So even what we think of as harmful algal blooms not always are. This slide shows a photograph of a red tide. You can see the color tends to be more yellow and orange, but definitely a dramatic difference between that and the normal watercolor. Finally, we'll look at a different kind of algal problem. It's a killer algae, but not because of toxins necessarily. We'll take a look at that. Caulerpa, native to tropical waters, doesn't have any specialized cells, not a lot of differentiation in the structure of it, but it does resemble plants in its morphology or its overall appearance. The Oceanographic Institute of Monaco had some and dumped it into the Mediterranean Sea, where it took hold. It has no natural enemies there, and nothing stopped it from taking hold and growing. It can grow close to an inch a day and completely cover the sea bottom, cutting off sunlight and using up the nutrients that native species require. And it's inedible by most herbivores, most plant eaters, because it contains toxic compounds. They simply don't eat it. This has proven to be a huge problem in the Mediterranean, and this stuff is sort of a sea-born version of kudzu vine on land. This photograph here shows the caulerpa. It's Caulerpa taxifolia, and notice it does have a sort of a plant-like morphology, even though there's not a lot of differentiation in the cells. It's an attractive plant, and it was used in aquariums at the Oceanographic Institute, which is why they had it. Dumping it proved to be a big mistake, though. Okay, well, that finishes Unit 14, this section on algae.